Hello, welcome back to Evil Genius Props. I am Mike, your Evil Genius for today. And what we're working on today is an afternoon build to make a case for another tool. So I've occasionally had to sew things for props, whether it's just a pouch uh, or, last year I ended up making two puppets. So eventually I got to the point where I got tired of asking the costume ladies, and they got really tired of seeing me. Uh, it's never good when you walk up to somebody and they're like, "What do you want?" So I went ahead and asked our costume director what sort of sewing machine I should get. And she told me to get an old Singer. Specifically, I was looking for something that would be able to do canvas and like thin leather, and thinking more pouches and belts and things like that than clothing, for instance. So I found one, bought it. I like it. I've used it, but I would probably want to put it down in my shop here. I don't have a dust collection system yet. I want to do a Corsi Rosenthal box, but that hasn't happened. So in the meantime, what I need to do is figure out a way to keep it covered. It's the same reason why I have a cover for my 3D printer. That's this black blob right here. Hello. Uh, and considering getting something similar for the laser cutter back there just to keep it clean while it's not in use. But I need to put something over the sewing machine. Newer sewing machines will come with a case that just slides right on top. They're designed for it. It's great. Uh, Mine doesn't have that. So what we're going to do today is build one real quick. Uh, Easy sort of build, just building most of a box basically, and then attach it, and also maybe put some handles on the base of the sewing machine to be able to carry it around a little bit easier. Let's go take a look at the machine. And this is the sewing machine. It's a 1954 Singer 306, all metal frame, metal mechanicals inside, foot pedal, all the good stuff. And it weighs a metric ton because of that, but it will sew through most anything I can reasonably expect to put through it. Downside is, of course, that it is heavy. And it's originally supposed to be built into a sewing table, so there's no case or anything for it. And if I'm going to keep it in the shop here, it's going to get very dirty and very dusty, which is not what I want to have happen to my sewing machine prior to putting clothes or fabric on it. So I'm going to make a case for this bad boy to hold everything in place. Let's get started. So someone before me built this frame for it, uh, which works out pretty well. It holds the machine, and the way you change the bobbin, you actually tip it, so that you need to sort of have this frame to be able to get in there and tip it. I'm going to put some handles on the sides here to lift, so I'm not having to try to get my fingers underneath to pick it up. So we're going to start off with just putting a couple of handles on there. Even if I do nothing else, that will make things a lot easier. Because it's heavy, I didn't want to take any chances. I didn't want to get light handles. So I got these big boys, and they're gonna just fit right in there. Be able to get a hand underneath and pick them up. I wanted to make sure I had more than one screw on each side, so I didn't have to worry about screws pulling out. Check, make sure these aren't too long so they're not sticking in. Looks like they should be just about perfect. So that's going to be step one. Ta-da! It's already better. Doesn't make it any lighter, but it makes it easier. I'm a bit concerned about if fabric's going to grab onto this, but it's mostly rounded edges, so I don't imagine that I'll have a problem there. So the next step is just going to be to build a box to go around this, and I'm going to cut this side short because of the handhold here. This side's going to come down, and if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. So I got a couple chest latches that I'm going to put on here to hold these guys down. Probably do one on the front, one on the back. So click, lift off the top. Let's see how big we need to make everything. So it looks like with the thread here on, it's about 11 inches off the deck, as it were. We're going to call it 12 just to make it easier. Looks like that's 20 and an eighth. Just be 20, could it? Oh no. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut out of some 1/2 inch plywood 2 pieces that are 20 inches by 12 and figure out how big I need to be over here to do these guys. And I think because, as you can see, this comes right up against the edge, I don't have a lot of room there. I might extend this part out a little bit. So like this one might actually go on, like the side will go like this and this will go in front of it. Whereas on this side, I can't just go ahead and have that there. So it would be right to the edge there. So we'll start with these 2 pieces just to see where they fit and go from there. Same deal with this side, though I don't have a whole lot of extra room. We'll work it out. All right, so these are the pieces I've cut out. 2 sides, 2 short sides, and a top. So what I'm actually going to do is just sort of dry fit these together. And go, okay, so that's going to be our top. These are the long sides. Probably going to need to cut this guy down a little bit, but other than that, I'm actually pretty happy with the way this is setting up. So I think what I might do actually is tape around this to hold everything in place and see how it looks before I start fixing anything permanently. All right, let's see how this works. So there is a little bit of I think I need to cut a bit of a channel on the back side here, which I guess actually is the front of the machine, but anyway, and just to scoot it over a little bit to get it back onto these level with that, because if I pull it up I can do that, but there is a little bit of a nudge sticking out over there that just needs to be taken care of. But beyond that, for the most part, these look to be about the right sizes. So there's a little guide on the base of the machine, sewing machine, for threading the bobbin. And it's sticking out just enough that this is catching on it. So what I'm going to do is I measured out how far it is and measured out about how high it goes, which is about 1 inch. So I'm just going to basically extend those lines up to here and probably make it a little bit bigger than that, but what I'm going to do is then just take a Forstner bit in the drill press and rather go all the way through, just go about halfway down just to cut sort of a little channel for it, and then that way I can slide it on just over that, and then we'll see what the next issue that I need to correct will be. All right, so I went ahead and cut the little channel over here. I might clean this up a bit with the chisel, but there is a rim along here where the edge of the sewing machine is getting in the way. So I'm just going to put this on the table saw and just cut that little channel on there and just trim this down. Again, not going to go all the way through, just maybe about as far as I did on the little tab here. So if I cut this part out and just make it a little bit shorter over here, that might work pretty well. So there's a similar issue as that on the front side, front end, where the needle comes down. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut off a little bit of a channel here just to sort of fit over the top of that. All right, so I'm going to put this together with pocket holes. So we're going to put some pocket holes in this piece, go into here, and then because this is slightly offset for the front, they're going to go into this piece that way, and then some this way to do the sides. Based on how wobbly that side is, I think we're going to put some glue on this one as we screw it down. Extra glue won't hurt anything. Yep, just put the glue on the wrong side. Cool. And of course, the thing I always forget with pocket squares, I can't use them all inside in something this small because I can't fit them through. So we'll do the last set here on top. The glue's going to dry, but I'm going to go ahead and keep moving on this. See if I can get it finished up here real quick while the glue's drying. So I'm going to go make sure this all fits. And that's simply a case of attaching those latches. And there we go. The glue will finish drying, but it's set up. That'll be enough to keep the sewing machine from getting sawdust and whatever else on it. I might come back and stain this to try to match that color. I'm not entirely sure what that is. It's stained pine, I know that much. Just not sure what color they stained it. Probably it looks almost like an oak or something, but I'm not sure. But even that's better. That'll at least let me now put this away in the garage rather than keeping it up on, say, the dining room table when I'm trying to use it. All right, well, I'm very happy with how that turned out for a couple hours build and basically one piece of plywood. So that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.